Sendaria here. Sorry, I'm sick. This is part 2 of my Nesta coming out of the Cauldron page, and it is a recap on part 1 and a little bit of clothing. This first part I've sped up because I'm doing a base layer of peach. So there's nothing fancy going on. It's literally just colouring in the arms and hands peach, and it's the Prismacolor peach as well. Like the shade's actually peach, so it's one thing I love about Prismacolor. I've noticed is the names for the shades are on the pencils. The Faber-Castell have a number, which is all cool if you want to remember numbers, but some people, like me, remember the colour name, so peach. Now I'm taking the medium brown and just adding a little bit of shadow. This is me colouring at my natural speed as well. So as you can see, I'm not kind of pushing very hard, and it's more of like a circular kind of scrubbing motion, just working in that medium brown to where shadows would be. I usually take that around, the edges of the body, so in this case the arm, under here where hair would fall, and places where shadow should be, I guess you could say. So yeah, again, light scrubby kind of motions, going down the arm, obviously a straight line. And so I've sped it up a little bit as I go around the hands. It's the same kind of technique, like I was saying, just in places you would see shadow, around the hair, edges, creases, gaps, things like that. I mean, you could even look at your own hand and see where shadows would fall on your hand, and put that medium brown in there. So the way I'm recapping part 1, I'm applying the same principles as I did in that to Nesta's arms and hands and Elain's face, just to kind of show you again what I was doing there a little bit slower. One thing I do is even when I finish a piece or a part of a piece, I'll always go back. I mean, I've picked up the dark brown to continue my shading, and I thought, hey, let's add some extra to her neck. So that's one thing you'll notice I do go back and forth quite a lot. This bit here, I've just got the dark brown and I'm going over the medium brown shading. So everywhere you went with your medium brown, you're taking the dark brown. With the dark brown, you don't have to go over the whole lot of the medium brown. I mean, sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Depends on how dark I want it. It's entirely up to you. So I'll speed up these little bits because it's literally, I'm just going over that medium brown, and then I'll slow it down as I come down the arm because I want to point something out. So with colouring skin, the thing I like about it is you can fix it quite a bit. So this dark brown, I'm actually going through quite roughly but lightly, just to add another bit of shadow, because if you can look there in the crease of the elbow, it's going over the lines and everything. I mean, it's a little bit messy. And that's purely because once I come back over it with its final colour, you won't see it. I mean, it's not going to look like that at all. And I can fix it up. So I'll do the dark brown on the other side. And then what I'll do is just again fill over those medium browns. And then I'll come back in with a light peach. Light peach is like a blending pencil for skin. Well, this skin tone anyway. May not work on other skin tones, but the best thing about it is you just draw over the whole lot. You're not shading anywhere or anything, you're just colouring in the whole lot. So this is why I'm speeding through it. I then check over and add any little dark and light browns that I feel I missed. Now with the nails, I was a bit unsure, like what colour would your nails be if you came out of a cauldron. So I just went with the dark grey around the tops, just like capping them almost around that top corner. And then I come back with a lighter grey and just a little bit in from that gap. So not completely covering the darker grey, just coming in a little bit from it and then going over the whole lot with the light peach again. And then that way it kind of merges it into the skin tone too. So it makes it look more dull and, blah. So if you notice here, I've actually gone out of the lines quite a lot. I tend not to worry about these things, especially when you're going to be doing dark around it. So now with it's like a medium grey because there is a darker one than this, I'm just putting down kind of like what you do with the peach. It's my base colour. So here you use quite a bit of it and you're kind of following, oh there you go, it's the 50% cool grey. So you're following Charlie's lines and adding a little bit extra. I'm just colouring around the edges and going around those little cut out pieces in the top there. And just basically putting down your first layer. Around here, again, you can see I'm just going under her lines, if that makes sense. So I'm colouring all the colour below it. And I'm just putting in that first kind of base layer. And I'm only doing half the dress because the rest kind of ties into the water, so that's why I'm going to stop partway through, just in case you wonder why I've done that. Now, like you did with the dark brown, I'm coming back with the darker grey, and I'm using it less than that first grey, but still adding it in to where she's already done her lines. But I'm going kind of above her line work, and almost keeping away from the dark, that lighter grey, and mixing them in so that there are two, and you can see the two separate greys quite blatantly. Highlighting the little cutouts as well. You don't have to do that part obviously, but that's what I've chosen to do. And then following along the neckline again. This bit I'm colouring quickly because it's a heavy, going along where a shadow would be under an arm, along the hair, so it's not too hard. And going back over her lines, adding that little bit extra. And putting a bit more in the corners and things, and just want you to feel it'd be a little bit darker. I mean, I think with this dress you could almost make it really dark because it is wet. I'll probably actually finish it and then put some white in it to make it look like it's glimmering, if that makes any sense, because it is slick. Now with the 20% cool grey, it's almost like what you do with the light peach. So you go over the whole lot just to kind of blend them all together and smush them all down. It's the best way I can think of explaining it. And it's almost like my blender pencil. I have the Prismacolor blenders and I don't know, I don't like them, they don't work for me. I think I've used them twice, but more as a rubber. Because if you use Faber-Castell and then you use that, it actually kind of rubs away the Faber-Castell, so it's kind of cool like that, which obviously isn't its use. So I'm just going to fill in pretty much where I've done all this grey. I'm going to fill it all in with this cool grey. Please note, this area here is a mistake. I kind of got confused what I was looking at, and then it wasn't until I went back, because after I finished this video, I stopped for a couple of days, and I came back to it and I looked at it and I was like, why did I colour on the floor like it was a dress? Where is it going? It's not going anywhere. So I fixed that in the next video, so don't worry. It will be righted. That wrong will be correct. It was just a really bad call on my part. And totally just completely missed it. So come back with the black, and I'm only using the Prismacolor black because I've run out. I've only got a little bit of my Faber-Castell black, and I have to buy a whole new pack before I can get a new black, so I'm not ready to do that yet. Whereas I can buy a new Prismacolor black for $3, which, yeah, it's frustrating, but it's easier than buying a whole pack of pencils I don't need. So this is why I'm using the Prisma Black, but if you've got Faber-Castell Black, I would totally use that because it'll be a lot less dark than this. I actually think I go through with the grey to dull it out too, because it is, I don't know, it's just a bit too dark for me. But what I'm doing is just going into all those shadows, you know, like I did in the first video, you know, where her hair's dropped her over, just in the crook of her arm there, just places where you would think shadow would be. One thing that I've been talking to people about is reference material. So what I tend to do is I will go on Pinterest, Google, all sorts, and I will literally Google water tipping out of a pot, you know, to see how a pot water look getting tipped out. I literally will just type in everything to find out what's going on. Before you saw me use that light peach quickly, it was to fix up a mistake. That is how good it is. And just through here, all I'm doing is, again, following Charlie's lines, darkening them up a bit, giving them a little bit more life. I really hope I don't sound like this is a massive effort. It isn't. It's just, with me being sick, it's like I go to talk and I feel like I'm going to cough or something, so I'm kind of like so after you've done all your black, you just go back and scrub away with that light grey again, and it tones down all your lines, and I don't know, it just makes everything kind of merge better, and it doesn't look so much like you've got a black outline and a grey inside, if you know what I mean. So I kind of do that to mix it all together. Now, because I was really speedy on the face section in part 1, I've slowed this down, so I just quickly scribbled in, you know, a bit of peach, which is the easy stuff. But this, I'm going back in with the Prismacolor peach and starting my shadows, because it is darker than the Faber-Castell peach. It's really subtle, but you can still see the differences. Then I'm going back into the same places that I added the dark peach with the light brown. The problem with this picture is using this face as an example, so it's tiny. It's so hard. And it actually, to me, it looks horribly messy. I mean, in the end it gets there, but it just looks so messy. My main areas of shadow is just in the eyes, around the nose, kind of like a contour. A lot of the time when I do a face, I think of makeup, using the peaches, the light browns, the dark browns, and adding my contour, if you could say, and you know, my coloured and makeup. So I'll just chuck in her eyebrows, the dark brown, and so far the only colours I've used is the Prismacolor peach and the Faber-Castell dark brown, medium to light brown, I guess you'd call it, and the Faber-Castell peach. Now look how messy that is. You see, it's pretty messy. But here comes my saviour, the light peach. Because they are different types of pencils, it actually almost rubs it out, but in a good way, because it still leaves the darkness there. So you're not losing your shadow entirely, but you can actually manipulate it. And if you scrub hard enough, it goes away completely. So you can still see there's a little black dark part there that's really annoying. See, it's right there. You can get rid of that. But I figured she's come out the cauldron. She's okay for now, so I'll give her a bit of a blush. Then just come back through and keep scrubbing away with that light peach to fix up any shadow. That shouldn't be like that. I often will go in and shape the face when I'm shading with the dark brown, just to kind of complete a section. I almost get frustrated when bits and pieces look unfinished, and then I often get put off. So yeah, I'll fix it up and make sure it's kind of semi-looking finished. I'm not too phased about the brown around the hands because I'll go in and shade that later anyway. And what I'm going to do with this section is I will do a time-lapse colouring her hair. I'm just alternating with the dark brown and the light browns, so there's no real lesson in it. It's just a quick rush through on her hair to get it coloured basically. But one thing I've been asked a lot, I've been messaged about, is people saying that watching me colour is relaxing. Would a video where I time-lapse the whole thing, like a whole page, with no talking, would that be something people would want to watch? I don't know. Let me know. Comment. Tell me yeah, nah, or yeah. Just let me know, because I mean I can totally do that. So here's part 2. Done her arm, kind of recapped on skin tone with her arm. We've done Elain's face in here, and in the next video I will be doing the rest of the dress and the water. Some of you, I am the Cauldron, some of you have seen the picture, and yeah, it's nearly done. Exciting. See you then.